Well, we're back for second half independent off-tube studio commentary from the game at the Emirates, where Arsenal lead against Zurich by a goal to nil. It's a deserved lead, really, when you consider that Zurich started well, but after conceding that goal scored by Kieran Tierney, once Tierney gave Arsenal the lead, he just really felt there was only 1 team in it. The goal from Tierney coming on 17 minutes, and right at the start of this second half, inside the first few seconds, a long ball is played up towards Sambi Lokonga, and as he's jumping to try and take it down on the chest, he gets caught. It's quite a strong challenge there from Canberra. Goes into the back of him, and it's going to take a moment here for Lokonga to pick himself up. But it's myself, Paul Szczerbakowicz, and Ben Rogers taking you through the action. Ben, Zurich, I suppose, want to be a bit more physical now because they didn't do enough in the first half.
It's obviously what I spoke about at half-time, let them know you're there with the first challenge. And I thought that Canberra sort of had that to his game in the first half, to be honest, Paul. There's a few sort of times where he was trying to be strong in a challenge and really give it to him and in the face. And remember when he got elbowed by Nene, he was in the ref's face. Seems to be that sort of nasty, aggressive player, and you need a player like that. But sometimes they overstep the mark, and he's done it there, and now he's given Arsenal a free kick in a dangerous position.
This is a dangerous position. It's left-footed Vieira and right-footed Nelson, but it's Vieira's ball, and it gets a deflection, falls into the path of Jesus, who from a couple of yards out blazes it over the bar. He's hoping for a corner kick for some deflection. Nothing given as far as that's concerned. There's no offside when the free kick is taken. There's no offside at all. It's simple as that, and Jesus should score.
Yeah, he really should, Paul. He's been struggling for goals, isn't he? Well, that's no goals in 6 games now for Jesus. And to be honest,
it is a corner.
It's a really good save from Brecher, and it should be a corner. And the fact that the referees and the 4 officials not seen that between the two.
Well, they have eventually. It's taken them a while, yeah. But I mean, as I say, we're not. You know, that everyone was moving away, and I think maybe the linesman just suggested to the referee that it may have been a nick off the goalkeeper. But it is the correct decision. It should be a corner. And Fabio Vieira was waiting to take it. It looked like he trips on the ball, but it's actually, actual fact, he was stopping himself from kicking it because referee Eric Lamberts, our Belgian referee, just asking for play to be stopped here, whilst he calls over Ben White and Fidan Aliti.
Like hands for on the set pieces, does he? Mentioned it in the first half, and every time he sees that, he's putting it and really stopping the game, and it's sort of affecting the flow of the game as well.
It is. I mean, the 2 players there were laughing at that as they were walking away from the referee. Both White and Aliti found that quite amusing, but Fabio Vieira, second time round, now he can try and take this corner kick from the left-hand side. He puts a lot of whip on it, too much whip on it. In fact, it still drops to Nketiah, who keeps it in play. It's then nodded back towards the goalkeeper by Jonathan Okita, and that's an easy save by Brecher, who clears it long down the right-hand side. Lokonga is chasing this one just to stop any kind of counter-attack. He does well, actually, to put it out for a throw. Just to remind you, no changes for Arsenal. Aaron Ramsdale is in goal. A back 4 of Ben White, Rob Holding, Gabriel and Kieran Tierney. The 3 in midfielder, Fabio Vieira, Mohamed El Neni and Sambi Lokonga, with Reece Nelson, Elie Nketiah and Gabriel Jesus as the attacking 3 for Zurich. It is Yanick Brecher in goal with what looks like a back 3 or a back 4, but it will say back 4 for now. Nikola Boran Janicevic as the right back. Then it's Lindrid Kamberi, Nikola Katic and Fidan Aliti as Arsenal look to go on the counter-attack here. There's going to be a free kick in midfield. Referee is going to show a yellow card to Nikola Katic as well for trying to stop the run of Gabriel Jesus. But the 3 in midfield for Zurich are Cech Conde, Oli Selnes and Adrian Guerrero, with Aigan Tosin, Antonio Marchesano, who comes on here, Marchesano, I should say, who comes on here for Fabian Rochner, and Jonathan Okita as the 3 up front. But a booking now for Katic, which is good news for Arsenal because he was getting involved a lot in the first half. So if they can stop him a little bit with that yellow card, there's no bad thing at all.
That's 2 of the back 3 now that are on yellow cards as well. Aliti, of course, was picked up a caution in the first half, so that's a real one to look out for us, and then he puts the ball into the box here.
He does, yeah, lifts it towards the right-hand edge of the box, looking for Rob Holding. It's nodded away from him, but Ben White still trying to recycle this ball for Arsenal, fighting to try and keep it in play. He's beaten to it by Adrian Guerrero, and now a chance here for a counter-attack for Zurich. But just as I say that, Antonio Marchesano is brought down. Fabio Vieira with the challenge. Marchesano was trying to turn, and Vieira just puts an arm across him. That would have been a yellow card a couple of seasons ago, but you can see the officials across Europe are just trying to be that little bit more forgiving, I suppose, not to give out too many yellow cards too quickly. And it is Zurich in possession now on the left-hand side with Tosin. Getting away from Okita, trying to put that ball down the left-hand side for the run of Guerrero. Ben White gets in the way of that one, though. Puts it out for a throw to Zurich now down the left-hand side. Waiting for players to get a bit further forward. Certainly can't deny the enthusiasm of those Zurich fans behind the goal, behind the Arsenal goal in this second half. They're still bouncing around in that away end. That's a good throw down the left-hand side and a good turn as well there from Marchesano But he couldn't in the end keep that ball in for Zurich. Arsenal now with a chance to go on the counter, but just as I say that, Gabriel Jesus is caught as he tries to keep possession there on the right-hand side, and Czech Conde looks sort of with forgiving eyes towards the referee, but that should be a yellow. Considering the couple of bookings we've seen already, I think that he's lucky not to have been booked for that one.
There's a lot of force behind that ball, wasn't there? Actually, looking at it again, Jesus just cleverly checks back onto his left foot, and Koundé just has a real swipe at his left leg there. And when you actually look at the replay of it, it looks really bad. I think, to be fair to the referee, in real time, I don't think me and you thought it looked that bad. But when you do look at it on the replay with a bit of a closer angle, the contact and the force of the challenge is actually quite nasty.
Yeah, there's not much chance of winning the ball there either. It just seems like he's trying to take Jesus out more than anything else. But Arsenal in possession now on the halfway line, with Gabriel having to go back towards goalkeeper Aaron Ramsdale. Pitches a high ball up this time towards the left-hand side, and Nketiah chests that one forward looking for Lokonga. Nodded away from him. Tierney picks up the loose ball in midfield and fires Fabio Vieira out towards the right-hand side. White and Nelson on this right-hand side. Nelson drops a shoulder, gets towards the edge of the area. Now Lokonga thought he might have a shot, but he tries to roll it here to Nketiah. There's an overlap here from Tierney, but Nketiah decides to keep it himself now inside the box. Back to Lokonga, back to Elneny, and Arsenal now heading back towards Gabriel. This is around 40 yards out from goal now. Pass over towards Kieran Tierney, who takes on his man and easily gets past him. Tierney then trying to put a ball in. There's a man down for Arsenal at the edge of the area as well. It was Nketiah. Seems to have a bit of a collision there with Boran Janicevic, but play goes on. Here come Zurich now down the right-hand side, but play has been stopped here after the ball was put out. Nketiah caught again.
Yeah, he is, and Kieran Tierney's shirt is ripped open in half here from where he's getting his shirt pulled by the referee, like Hulk when he rips his shirt apart. There was a real strange one. You can see it here as well. He's having a real.
Well, he is, but I mean, I'll tell you what, it's not a great advert for the shirt manufacturer, though, is it? Really, it's 70 quid for something that gets torn like that. But even so, it was
real handful of the shirt there, and then you look at the Nketiah tackle as well. The referee didn't give a foul for that either. I think Arsenal have been hard done by there to not have a single set piece out of the two of them.
Yeah, I think so. I think if you ever wanted evidence for a shirt pull, I think there's not much, nothing more obvious than that. But as I say, Arsenal should have some spare shirts on the touchline. If not, it's not too far to the club superstore around the other side of the stadium. But yeah, Tierney's already got his spare shirt on, and he should be ready to play on. And the referee just pointing for a throw, and I think Tierney's once again pointing to his shirt saying, really, just a throw for that? But that's all he's going to get, unfortunately, as far as Arsenal are concerned. It was quite a strong challenge on Nketiah a moment earlier as well.
And he seems to be a bit of discomfort as well, just sort of hobbling around. He's back up to his feet now, and PSV and Centre have just doubled their lead against Bodo Glimt, so I'm sure news of that will travel around the Emirates quick, and Arsenal have actually been asked to give the ball back to Zurich. So
well, in fairness, Zurich did put the ball out because they spotted Nketiah down, and then we saw that the shirt being torn, the torn shirt of Tierney as well. But it's Bakayoko that has got the goal for PSV, and that is 2-0 now away in Iceland. Arsenal would need to get that second goal in this game just to feel a little bit more comfortable. Throw on to Zurich now down the right-hand side. 53 minutes on the clock. Arsenal 1, Zurich 0. Boran Janicevic with the throw down the right-hand side, headed out by Gabriel. So Zurich have at least gained a bit of territory here, moving towards the halfway line. I'm sure that Bo Henriksen, who we can see now, their manager, would have been trying to get into his players just to show a little bit more fight, because they conceded after 17 minutes, never really looked confident after that, as a clearance there from the goalkeeper, Brecher. That certainly wasn't confident. He hit that along the ground. He was lucky that it got all the way to Elneny at the edge of the centre circle. But here come Arsenal now down the right-hand side with Ben White. Just plays it inside towards Jesus. Really is very mobile. He's on the right, he's on the left, he's through the middle. This time he was on the right-hand side. He got dispossessed. He stayed down on the ground here, the Arsenal captain. Just trying to see if he's back on his feet. Yeah, Arsenal still in possession. He's only just got back to his feet now, Gabriel Jesus. And the Gunners switch play towards the left-hand side. Eddie Nketiah with a good run, trying to break into the box. He's been stopped by Kamberi. Goes back towards Kieran Tierney on that left-hand side. Lokonga to Elneny, back to Tierney now, and he clips the ball in towards Sambi Lokonga. Should just about be able to keep this in play, but he can't turn first time and get that towards goal. He's trying to flick the ball away from the defender, just gave himself a little bit too much to do in the end, and a bit of a frustrated frame of Nketiah there at the edge of the box. I think he was expecting a pass from his teammate there.
Yeah, it was a really good run actually from Sambi Lokonga, a third man run into the box, and he found well from Kieran Tierney, but as you say, because Nketiah had sort of pulled to the edge there, and Lokonga, to be fair to Lokonga, the pass to Nketiah wasn't really on. He couldn't really get himself in a position where there wasn't a Zurich player in front front of him, and then the ball into the avenue through to Nketiah. But there was no Gabriel Jesus up in the penalty area either, because he was down, of course, injured, just sort of gingerly making his way up the field. So there was nothing really on for the Congo by the time he got to the byline, and in the end, he just ran out of room. Really,
he just ran out of room, as you said, and he tried to sort of play the ball into a bit of space, but he was already at the edge of the 6-yard box with two Zurich defenders around him. A throw on to Zurich now down the left-hand side, and it's Fidan Aliti who's come forward to take this. He's got a couple of options here to try and pick out a teammate. He's found Okito, who's stopped immediately here on the right-hand side by Nelson. Arsenal was saying it should be their throw. It's gone out, but it's actually going to be a throw to Zurich. Aliti again in towards Marchesano, clips the ball over the top, and it's chased down here on that left-hand side by Guerrero, but it's hoofed out here for another throw. So this is just a little bit of a spell of possession here now for Zurich, creeping ever closer towards this Arsenal penalty area. Taken short here now, and Aliti trying to carry on down the left-hand side, but it just runs out of space. Ben White, though, doesn't want to take any chances, just clears it out straight away. And it's another throw to Zurich now down the left-hand side. Reece Nelson just doing a little bit of defensive work here, trying to get his side back into some sort of attacking possession as quickly as possible. It's taken back here towards Aliti. Dispossessed by Nelson. His clearance actually flicks off Jesus, so it drops here to Czech Conde, who then plays a ball, a great ball as well, down the right-hand side to pick out Boran Janicevic, and he puts a cross in which is too close to Ramsdale. Ramsdale's caught that, but I think he was already out of play when he caught it, and then he was out of play as well, but it's been given as a goal kick.
Yeah, but as you say, the cross from Boran Janicevic, just Kieran Tierney, to be fair, he done really well there, just to delay the cross, and then in the end, there was no room for Boran Janicevic to sort of deliver that right foot in swinger to sort of bend the ball back to walk away from the goal. And
well, just as we say that, though, as Katic is caught in possession and Jesus ranges forward now, finds Nketiah, who breaks into the box. Nketiah's got two Zurich players in front of him, tries to get a cross in towards Vieira, but it's hooked away by Selnays in the end, up towards the halfway line, where Gabriel doesn't want to take a chance. It's a bit of an awkward bounce on that ball for Gabriel, and although he could have tried to play it back to goalkeeper Aaron Ramsdale, prefers to just put it out for a throw.
He does that too much, Eddie Nketiah, for my liking, just chopping into his left and right foot. Sometimes, you know, as you said, they caught out Katic on the ball there, Arsenal, and Jesus pays the ball into Nketiah. There's a nice weight on the pass from Jesus as well. Nketiah there, surely, just left-footed shot across the keeper, early, low and hard, and you've got a chance of hitting the top. Or hit the back of the net.
Yeah, I think there's always that danger that players overcomplicate things a little bit too much in the box. You sometimes see that where players are 6-7 yards out of goal and they still try and play it square. When you're 6-7 yards out of goal, just shoot. But
he just tries to chuck back into his right foot there, Paul. And I just don't think it was the right option. Because
it's not a bad trait to have, a forward that likes to take a shot on early. You don't always have to have those extra touches. But here come Arsenal now after Zurich are caught in possession. It's Fabio Vieira breaking forward, gets to the left-hand edge of the penalty area. His cross deflects off Katic, and that's good work here from Yanick Brecher, diving down to make sure that he avoids his side conceding a corner. Half-hearted appeal there as well from Jesus, that it might have been a handball as that ball was taken back towards the goalkeeper. It didn't look like there was too much in that, but I suppose if there is no VAR, it's no bad thing to try and appeal a little bit harder with the referee. Here come Zurich now, though, down the right-hand side. Boran Janicevic plays it forward here for Aygun Tosin. Robbed of the ball, though, there by Kieran Tierney. Gets a deflection, though, back off Tosin. So Zurich have the ball back here in midfield. Selnays going back towards Katic. Now it's with Aliti, who plays it forward. It's been won back by Ben White, but only very briefly. And Zurich now have possession on the halfway line. That's a strong challenge, though, and that potentially... I was thinking it might be a booking, but a referee, I think, is just going to tell Rob Holding off for the time being. Just as... he was trying to stop Tosin turning. Just a bit of a strong challenge there from Holding in the end.
Yeah, it was a nice bit of control there from Tosin, wasn't it? And he just sort of chipped the ball away from Holding's foot, and Holding just smashed him with a challenge and brings him down. And probably quite fortunate to escape the booking there, because it wasn't dissimilar from the one that we see from the Katic in earlier on in the half.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but there have been a couple of strong challenges that referees let go without a yellow card already, so maybe he's just trying to keep some consistency with that. But Zurich waste that possession, really, and you could see a frustrated look on the face of Bo Henriksen there, because his side could have done a little bit more with that one, really. It was just a long ball hitting hope, really, down that left-hand side. But the ball couldn't find any player in a Zurich shirt, so it's a goal kick to Arsenal now, taken long here by Aaron Ramsdale. Up towards the halfway line. Katic heads it forward. It drops to Mohamed El Neni. And now it's with Nketiah. Nketiah under pressure, does well initially, but then he just couldn't keep his feet as two Zurich players were able to dispossess him. Akita now. Plays it short to Boran Janicevic. Inside now to Marchesano. Selnes now. Square over towards the left-hand side. Aliti. Marchesano plays it first time, but he overhits that pass by quite a bit. No chance of his teammates Eigen tossing getting on the end of that one, and it's been more of the same really from Zurich, just lacking that quality in the final third.
They haven't really been able to respond since Arsenal took the lead. Paul, in fairness, you know, Kieran Tierney's goal. Arsenal struggled in the opening 15 minutes of this game, but as soon as they got the goal, they had full control of the game, real foothold, and Zurich haven't had a reply to that, have they at all? Not really offered anything going forward. But you know, whilst the scoreline's 1-0, you just do never know. As Albi Samuel Lokonga's brought down there by Chet Conde, and I think Conde's only 1 or 2 tackles away from a booking. And look at the substitutions that Mikel Arteta's bringing on with just over the hour mark, and Thomas Partey and Bukayo Saka.
Yeah, absolutely. 2 Premier League's regulars. Saka's an England regular as well, so this is certainly no hardship to have players like this on your bench. Bad news as far as Zurich are concerned, of course, because they were probably hoping to catch Arsenal when they still had a few of their regular starters off the field now. But with Saka coming on, whether it's I'm just trying to think whether it's going to be for Nelson or Nketiah, because Nketiah's certainly been more visible in this second half, but I would say that Nelson probably had the slightly better first half.
Yeah, I think Nelson's the more obvious replacement because he may play a part in Sunday as well, and then you'd expect it to be Mohamed El Neni because this is his first game back from injury, of course.
Yes, so exactly. I think it would make sense for him to get half an hour off here, as we're going to get a booking here. It's a strong challenge, and it is on Sambi Lokonga there. It's Chet Conde, who's probably been on the tightrope now for a few challenges, hasn't he?
About 30 seconds ago, Paul, didn't I? I think Conde's tackle or 2 away.
It's a stamping down as well.
He should have got one earlier on for the Jesus tackle, shouldn't he? You know, when Jesus checked back onto his left foot and then he caught him that slide, and then he just done one about 30 seconds ago that I just mentioned, and now that one, the stamp on top of the foot of Lokonga. It was only a matter of time there before Conde was going to get his way into the booking, and there is Mohamed El Neni's
getting a decent ovation here from the Arsenal fans as well. He's not seen too much of the ball, but that said, he's not had a bad game by any stretch, and it's important for him to get some minutes now. Thomas Partey scored a fabulous goal the other day, didn't he? Thomas Partey, he's on the field now for the last just under half an hour that we've got left in this game. Gabriel Jesus is the other change. That is interesting. So that means that I'm guessing Nketiah goes into the number 9 role with Saka and Nelson as the 2 wide men. Yeah,
whether it would be Nelson on the left and Saka on the right, or Saka on the left and Nelson on the right, we're yet to know. I mean, they can both play on either side, which is kind of, you know, a very good situation for Arsenal. Saka predominantly has been playing on the right for Arsenal over the last sort of 18 months, hasn't he? But did start as a left winger, so is he going to play on the left? Is Nelson going to play on the left? But Nketiah is going to play in his preferred number 9 position, which I think will make Eddie Nketiah very happy. Yeah,
he'll certainly enjoy that. Rob Holding, by the way, has picked up the captain's armband since Jesus has gone off. The free kick comes in. It's a touch immediately here for Thomas Partey, but it's a header towards goal that's looping towards goal rather than being a direct header, so it's an easy save here for Brecher, who then clears it long, straight onto the header, Kieran Tierney. Arsenal straight back into possession. Here is Reiss Nelson, who is still on the left-hand side, having been there for the free kick. He then rolls it into Thomas Partey.
It looks as if Saka's going to be on the right and Nelson's going to play on the left.
Absolutely. Saka's back to his preferred right-hand side. And here is Bukayo Saka now breaking into the box. His cross. It was aimed at Nketiah. Then it gets a slight deflection of one of the Zurich players. And it almost surprised Reiss Nelson, who actually had a decent chance to get a shot away at goal there.
Saka's straight involved there, Paul. And that's the beauty of Bukayo Saka. He can go left, he can go right. This time, a couple of step overs. Jigs onto his right-hand side, is on his right foot, and that's a really good ball in, isn't it? As you say, it's a flick at the front post from Nketiah, and Nelson, the ball comes in so fast, he tries to control it on his chest, but the ball bounces off his chest and in the arms of the goalkeeper. But Arsenal are going to have total control of the midfield now. Thomas Partey, been absolutely fantastic this season. You mentioned the goal he scored against Nottingham Forest. He also got one in the North London derby, didn't he? An absolute worldie, a carbon copy of the one against Nottingham Forest. So he's really been on good form this season, Thomas Partey, and Arsenal will be really happy that they've got the best of him.
I remember an interview with Thomas Partey at the start of last season where he was asked how you think your Arsenal time has been so far, and he gave himself a 6 out of 10, and the interviewer actually questioned him, saying, really? I think you've done better than that. And he said to himself very high standards, but I think he must be getting closer to those very high standards now, Thomas Partey. And here he is on the ball now, linking up with Eddie Nketiah, and then he switches play over towards the right-hand side as well to pick out Bukayo Saka. There's Ben White on the overlap, but Saka finds Vieira in the box, who then controls it and goes for it with his weaker right foot, and he misses by quite some way, which is a shame really, because there were players in the penalty area. All he's got to do is look up and he can play it square to Nketiah.
Yeah, he really does, but Bukayo Saka, he's just a bundle of energy, isn't he? A really good ball in there to Fabio Vieira. Vieira's initial touch is really good because he takes the defender out of the equation, but like you say, he doesn't really look up, and he's off balance on his weaker right foot and snatches at his shot really, when the better option, as you say, is probably just to pull the ball across goal there, because he did have Reece Nelson in a good position there, which would have been when he's coming onto it on his stronger right foot as well. But good play there from Arsenal.
Yes, it is. I mean, it's been a very solid half from Arsenal. We've had 20 minutes, 65 minutes gone here, independent off-tube studio commentary, and Arsenal a goal up here against Zurich. Can't say they've had a huge amount of chances other than the goal, but they're very much the deserved leaders in this game. And a loose ball at the edge of the area here for Nketiah to chase. Goalkeeper Brecher had to come out very quickly there. Just that little bit of indecision between his defenders, and Arsenal certainly have enough pace to try and take advantage of that.
Yeah, and there's been numerous times over the last few years Eddie Nketiah has caught out goalkeepers, isn't he, from their sort of slow decision maker, and he's been straight onto him, and he's almost onto Brecher there, but as you say, Brecher really fast off his line.
Speaking of Eddie Nketiah, I mean, he was close to securing a permanent move away from Arsenal at one point. Then he signed a new deal, and it seemed like he was being sort of tipped up for having a big future, but hasn't just quite been able to get into the team as much. You just still think he sees his future here at Arsenal?
He's recently signed a new contract at the end of last season, didn't he? So it's one where Mikel Arteta spoke about how much he really values Eddie Nketiah, and Eddie Nketiah, as you say, had options elsewhere. West Ham were really fishing him for a permanent move, as you mentioned. Newcastle were interested as well, but he has committed his future to the club now, 3 years. He signed that at the back end of last season, so I know he wants to be the out-and-out number 9 for us, so he's been awarded the number 14 shirt, which is a really prestigious shirt. It's a shirt that Thierry Henry wore.
It is the shirt that Henry wore, absolutely.
So it's one where Arsenal fans will cherish.
I just wonder, he signed that contract before they signed Jesus, though, didn't he? But having said that, I think there was always going to be. He couldn't have expected to have just been the only striker at Arsenal. There's always going to be a bit of competition.
Competition for places is what every club's got to have if it's striving for success, which Arsenal are. Sit top of the Premier League, and Eddie Nketiah will want to be a big part of that, and he's got to take every opportunity that comes to him. So when he plays these Europa League games, he's got to make sure he plays well. And
we'll just break off from that, though, Ben, because here comes Zurich now for the first time in a while, and it drops to Marchesano, who strikes it, saved by Aaron Ramsdale, and then the rebound is into the back of the net. Adrian Guerrero barely even had time to celebrate that goal because the offside flag is up. And, of course, it doesn't matter whether it was offside or not anymore, because there is no VAR in the Conference League. So whatever happens here, the goal will not stand. But let's just have a look here as this ball is played forward for down the left-hand side. It's clipped in. VAR can get involved, of course, my mistake. But when this strike is initially made, it's very close there. And I just wonder if maybe there could be whether the goal could be given. I think it's already been decided that it was offside, but it was very tight.
Just offside, isn't it? But it's a real warning sign, because we haven't really seen Zurich come forward at all since the goal. I did mention that, but just there, Ramsdale's initial save, by the way, it's a really good save, isn't it? A real strong hand, palms it away well. But then that rebound, 3 Zurich players were so quick to react that no Arsenal players at all reacted to the ball. So real worrying signs there. In the end, Arsenal have got away with it because he is in offside position, Guerrero, and it was actually a good finish on the rebound as well. But it was a real little wake-up sign there for Arsenal.
It is, as I say, for all this possession that they've had, Zurich are only a goal down, but here come Arsenal now down the left-hand side with Nelson trying to break into the penalty area. Been well marked here, though, by Canberry, having to go back to Kieran Tierney. Tierney looking towards the edge of the penalty area, finds Nketiah, back to Tierney, looking for options inside the box. Those Zurich have made a pretty rigid offside line just at the edge of their own box. Arsenal now forced back towards the halfway line. We've gone over the three-quarter mark in the game, nearly 69 minutes gone now. It is Arsenal 1, Zurich no one. Here is Ben to take us through to full time.
It's been a second half that's flown by, really. 24 minutes played of it now, 69 minutes played in the game. It's Ben White with one of them surging runs through the midfield, and in the end, he's overrun the ball, and now Zurich can get going with the substitute Marchesano, and Marchesano's ball blocked well by Thomas Partey and headed well by Bukayo Saka. Then Vieira's long height clearance. Eddie Nketiah will chase it down, but meets the head of Katic. then flicked on by Machasano, and that's just a real scrappy phase of the game at the moment. It's Thomas Partey with a lovely little neat turn there, Partey, and Koundé's left with a real late one on him there. He's already on the yellow card as well. The referee waves play on. Not quite sure that would be enough for his second yellow. As Nelson's one-on-one with Boric there, but the referee said waves play on. And Nelson's furious that he's not been brought down. Real pinball at the moment. Both teams scrapping away as Katic plays the ball back towards his goalkeeper Brecher, and now Arsenal are adopting a higher pressure. Can Berger get it clear? He can. Away for a throw-in, and Arsenal just asking the question there of the referee whether Koundé should be second yellowed or not. Tomiyasu's getting ready. Perhaps that'll be for Ben White. I'm sure Ben White will play on Sunday at Stamford Bridge. So Arsenal, they've got strength and depth, haven't they?
They have, yeah. And as I say, it's no hardship because, as I say, Tomiyasu's had some really good performances for Arsenal this season, and bringing a fresh player on as well just gives them that more energy to get that second goal to really put this game to bed.
Tomiyasu, of course, could play a big part on Sunday. He's started the last couple of Premier League games for Arsenal with the left-back role, but with Alexander Zinchenko back to the bench today, that suggests that he may be fit and ready for that game. As Bukayo Saka finds Ben White. Ben White now on the right-hand side, one-on-one with Guerrero, just standing him up for now, Guerrero, and the ball, is he going to go by for a goal kick? No, Guerrero just about keeps it away, but then Ben White finds Bukayo Saka, as Bukayo Saka just about overruns it, and behind for a goal kick. Oh, he looks frustrated there, Bukayo Saka, and I think if he just pulled the trigger one touch earlier, he could have tested the goalkeeper here. Ben White catches Guerrero's sleep, and Guerrero's trying to shield the ball off. Then Saka shifts the ball to his right and left foot, and in the end just overruns it.
Just didn't have enough space in the end, but defender Guerrero there was being far too laid back, trying to just sit back and hope that ball was going to go out of play when it barely had enough pace on it at all.
And Brecher clears long, only as far as Gabriel. Gabriel slices at clearance, but it goes just towards Eddie Nketiah and then hooked away by Katic towards the head of Rob Holding. Holding does well. He finds Fabio Vieira. Vieira is dispossessed. It's pinball at the moment between these two teams. Neither side can keep hold of the ball. As it stands, Arsenal on 15 points, PSV on 13, then Bodo Glimt will be in third and Zurich in fourth. So Zurich will be going out of Europe completely as it stands, and Bodo Glimt will be going into the Europa Conference League playoff round. Arsenal will be going straight to the Europa League round of 16. And PSV Eindhoven will be going to the Europa League playoff as Martin Odegaard's coming on as well. So Mikel Arteta does not see this job done yet, and he knows he's seen that warning sign of Zurich's disallowed goal a minute ago, and now he's looking towards another big gun of club captain Martin Odegaard to come on and really see the final 20 minutes.
Yeah, but look how animated Arteta is when he's talking to Odegaard. He's really trying to instill in him some sort of game plan for when he comes on. It's not just a case of getting his regular players out to give him a bit of a run out before Sunday. They've still got a job to do here because Arsenal want to make sure that they win this game. And here comes that double change now. Tomiyasu and Odegaard. Odegaard will be coming on for Fabio Vieira. He's had a good game. I was very impressed with the way he played away at Brentford. Not quite had the same influence on the game this evening, but certainly a decent performance from him. Martin Odegaard is on to replace him. And the other player will be Tomiyasu. We'll confirm to you in just a moment who he's going to be replacing.
You'd imagine it'd be Ben White, just because Ben White's going to play a big part at Stamford Bridge. He's nailed on that right back role, Ben White, isn't he now? He's been really good this season so far, and you'd expect him to go to Qatar with England. He wasn't in Gareth Southgate's last squad. No,
he wasn't. I mean, I would have Ramsdale ahead of Pickford at the moment in terms of England goalkeepers. I think I'd probably have Pope ahead of Pickford as well. But we know that Gareth Southgate does pick his own players. I mean, Harry Maguire's not had a particularly good time for Manchester United. Neither has Luke Shaw, but both of them you'd imagine will be starting for Southgate.
Yeah, he has got his favourites, Gareth Southgate. Favourites are players that have done well for him so far, and it's a fine line, isn't it? I think, picking players on form, but picking players that have done so well for you in these international tournaments as well. You've got to have a right balance, but players like Ben White and James Maddison, I do feel for, because players that are playing well consistently for their club, but still don't get picked for, even selected for the squad. It's got to, you've got to feel hard done by at times, haven't you?
Yes, it's international football. It is always very polarising because there's that debate between players on form or players that are part of a system for the manager. But we'll break off from that though, because here comes Zurich down the right hand side.
It's dangerous ball in, low and hard, driven across the goal. But Aaron Ramsdale is the first to meet it, and he gets Arsenal going again with Albert Sambi Lokonga. And Lokonga drives for the midfield here really well, and he finds Reece Nelson, who's now on that left hand row. And Nketiah's made a good run in behind. He might have just strayed offside there because Nelson held on to the ball for a bit too long. But the linesman's left his flag down. Nketiah finds Nelson on the edge of the box, but Nelson just about keeps it alive, and the linesman's flag now has gone up for Eddie Nketiah, but Nelson just nipped that off early.
He did, yeah. Big delay in the offside decision, but we'll see here. Nketiah, this is careless from Nketiah because he doesn't need to be offside. He could still be onside and easily get on the end of this ball. He just wasn't looking where the defenders were. We can now see from the shades of the turf that he was definitely offside when that ball was played across. But yeah, the cross then from Boranasevic, Arsenal, we're very grateful that it was that close to Ramsdale and he was able to come out and make the save.
Yeah, that offside was a strange one, I think, Paul, because when it's so clear like that was 4 or 5 yards offside. Why do they wait so long? Because
well, I think I don't like it either, and it's become a new thing for players to get frustrated. Oh, ref, you've wasted 10 seconds of time on the pitch by not putting the flag up. But I think because we do have the video replay in this game, and we do have it in so many, obviously, European leagues now, I'd still rather that they wait a few seconds and get it right every time, because they still get it wrong sometimes. They sometimes put the flag up early, and then you look at the replay and you think there's no offside there at all. So it is frustrating. I think what's frustrating is that we lose so much time everywhere else as well in terms of substitutions and injuries and things like that. So when the linesman then gets involved and doesn't put his flag up straight away, it really frustrates us as well.
Zurich are rolling at the dice now, aren't they? They know that they need to.
They've got to try, yeah. I mean, and because it is only 1-0, and they've had those couple of half chances in this second half, I think that Bo Henriksen sees that his side can still nick a point here.
It's very much still game on at the Emirates Stadium. Don't go anywhere, because anything can happen still. And Zurich have already proved that. We're having a goal disallowed. As Holding's long ball is Eddie Nketiah going to get there ahead of Brecher. I thought he was. I think he did actually get there ahead of the goalkeeper, but didn't quite get any contact on the ball. And Brecher's screaming at his teammates because none of them dealt with that at all. There was Odegaard brings down Guerrero, and it's going to be a free kick, but that was a real worrying sign there for Zurich. It was just a long ball from Holding, a slice clearance, but the ball went so far in the air, and Nketiah ran behind Katic. Katic did not know where he was, and then Nketiah got there ahead of the goalkeeper, but couldn't quite bring the ball down because it was so high. And
it just wouldn't sit down for him, would it? It still had a little bit too much bounce on it, but yeah, that's all of that. That's exactly what Eddie Nketiah can do in terms of that pace, that energy. Just puts defenders and goalkeepers under so much pressure.
Brecher's long ball, 76 minutes played. Arsenal 1, Zurich 0. Arsenal top in the group as it stands, and it is important that they top the group because they will go straight to the round of 16. They will avoid playing that playoff game against one of the Champions League sides that drops out. It's a real big thing now, of course, with this new Champions League, Europa League, Europa Conference League format, that you top your group because you do not want to be playing that extra game, especially with all these games that are going to be played after the World Cup. Of course, as now Zurich make 2 changes, going to be Ole Salnes, the most experienced player for Zurich, who's going to be coming off.
Yes, and Mark Hornschuh, I think I should be pronouncing that. Mark Hornschuh, the number 16, is the first one to come on here. So Hornschuh is on for these last 15 minutes or so. And the second change as well here, as Ayugun Tosin is going to get the hook as well for these last 15 minutes.
Tosan's going to make way. I think he's played quite well today, Tosan. He's probably been one of the standout players for Zurich. It's going to be Yanick who's coming on for him, the number 20. So a change of approach. He's more of a physical forward player, isn't he, rather than Tosan's sort of pace and trickiness. As Odegaard looks to find Saka in behind there, couldn't quite do that. Intercepted well by Aleti, and Aleti now brings the ball forward, and he'll look for Marciano, and Tomiyasu plays it back to Ramsdale. Slight hesitation there from Ramsdale, but just about gets away with it, and Saka brings that ball down really well. Who finds Odegaard, and now Saka, but Saka's adjudged to have brought down Aleti, and Aleti's holding his eye. They're not quite sure whether Saka might have caught him in the face, and Aleti's making a meal of it, and the referee's going to have a word with Bukayo Saka, I think, here. Yeah,
he's going to have a word with Saka. Let's just see. I mean, how much contact is there? Oh, yeah, it's a shin guard into the face there, I think.
Yeah.
I don't think Saka's intending on kicking the opponent, but there's no doubt that the shin guard does catch him on the chin there.
It's a foul, isn't it? It's not really a higher boot, it's a mid boot because Aliti's moving his head down into the ball, but definitely a foul there. The shin pad of Bukayo Saka's caught Aliti, and it's going to be a free kick just past halfway line for Zurich. And for Mikel Arteta, I mean, it's job done so far for Arsenal, isn't it? But they've not been convincing, have they?
They haven't, but I think that winning ugly a few times in a European campaign is necessary as well. If you're playing brilliant and you're winning 4 or 5-0 every time, then obviously that's wonderful. But if you sometimes have to grind out a result and just hold your nerve a little bit, that's not a bad trait to have either. As we can see, Oleg Zinchenko warming up for Arsenal. They've used 4 of their 5 substitutions, so potentially Zinchenko may be the last man to come on for Arsenal today.
Yeah, making his return, of course. If he was to come on, he's already returned to the squad this evening, but might make his return to the pitch for the Gunners ahead of their eagerly anticipated clash with their London derby on Sunday, of course, midday that kicks off. Chelsea versus Arsenal. Chelsea's extra day of preparation. Is that going to be a key aspect? Arsenal, of course, playing Thursday, Sundays, and it's a real tough schedule. And in recent years, it's really halted the Gunners, isn't it? Playing Thursday, Sundays, they've done okay at it so far this year, but you know, Chelsea's a big game. They've done well under Graham Potter, and it's the sort of games that be a big test for the Gunners. They sit top of the Premier League, and they've come out of their test so far with flying colours, but there's a long way to go in this season. Thomas Partey done well to retrieve the ball there and then look to switch the ball towards Kieran Tierney, and it was a poor one, and now Zurich can take a throw in, and they do it quickly, and now here's Yanick, and Yanick shifts inside to his left foot and strikes it well, just over the bar, and that's exactly what he can offer. Yanick, the first real chance we've seen of a substitute, and he took the ball really well on the half turn, shift on side of his left foot, and his shot just flashed.
I thought it was going in when he hits this. He really puts his left foot through this, and it's pinging, and it's just away from that top corner. Ramsdale is being, if this is on target, Ramsdale's not saving it, and it really isn't far away from that top corner at all.
I think he might even actually clip the outside of the post on the way through.
It's very close. It really is. And certainly Bo Henriksen from where he stood, he got a great view of that, and he would have seen just how close it was.
I didn't get it. I was getting a headlock there by Katic, but the referee just waves play on. And that's another sign there, though, Paul, that this game is not over, and Arsenal really, they need that second goal.
They absolutely, and you can see Henriksen there quickly turning to a couple of his teammates, just saying, come on, get back into the game. Less than 10 minutes of regulation time left here now to add the Emirates. Arsenal still a goal up, but once again, this little wave from Zurich now, and they may be getting a corner kick here as Marchesano flicks that. He does, and it actually gets a touch off the Zurich man last, but they're going to make a final change here now. In fact, no, I take it back. They've made 3 changes so far. They've still got 2 more to make, and it looks like Blydian Krasniqi is the next one getting ready to come on.
Yeah, Krasniqi, of course, tricky right winger, isn't he? And that'd be the sort of player that we're looking to get on the pitch. And we've already seen what Yanick can offer the first time he's come on, and Marchesano's been good since he's come on. So the substitutes so far for Zurich have been working really well, and they'll be hoping that Krasniqi can get involved and perhaps test these tired Arsenal back line and their legs, as Aaron Ramsdale's going to take this goal kick. And Arsenal, you know, they've brought on the likes of Partey, Saka, Ødegaard, but at the moment, you know, it's Zurich substitutes that are really having the impact, because the last 5 or 10 minutes Zurich have grown back into the game.
They really have. Zurich have started to just feel a little bit more confident. It's actually been a while since Arsenal have had a long spell of sustained possession outside the Zurich penalty area, and that's something that Mikel Arteta certainly would have noted. But a fifth and final change, fourth, I'll get it right eventually, fourth change here for Zurich this evening. Keep looking at the Arsenal bench thinking they're going to make one more change to complete their 5, but it is going to be Krasniqi coming on now for these last few minutes.
Krasniqi on, and check Koundé off, and then that's probably just to avoid him getting into further trouble. Koundé, he likes to tackle, doesn't he? The hard tackling central midfielder, and Nketiah holds the ball up well there from the throw, and he plays it back towards Kieran Tierney. Kieran Tierney's high lofted ball into the boxes towards no one, because Arsenal had no one in there, and Rob Holding will send a raking long ball towards Eddie Nketiah. Nketiah will chase it down, and Canberra will shield it away well for a goal kick, and then the two of them there just have a push and a shove of each other, and then a stare. Very awkwardly in that.
Yeah, absolutely. And very nearly crashed into a photographer with all his equipment as well, just sat by the edge of the advertising boards. But in the end, the two of them just, not separated by the referee, but the referee's presence was enough just to calm the two of them down, and they went their separate ways.
Neither would let go of each other, Paul, as they were falling, would they?
No.
Hold on to each other.
And as I say, Nketiah, I think, is probably, I would say that Canberra is probably a slightly bigger player, but Nketiah certainly wasn't giving up any ground there at all.
No, it wasn't. And Canberra's we've already seen he likes that side of the game so far, and here he is again, Canberra with a good header, but Kieran Tierney finds an even better header in behind Reece Nelson. Nelson's going to beat Katic to the ball. Where is he? Nelson does. He's brought down by Katic. Is he?
Corner.
Behind for a corner. I didn't know whether Katic had just won the ball there, and I think it's an absolutely phenomenal tackle from Katic. Really, really good tackle there, because he was giving up a lot of ground in the pace department to Reece Nelson. We'll see it again here. Tierney's header in behind is absolutely fantastic.
It is superb. I mean, the way he gets away down the left-hand side here. Is there a foul there? It's very close. Let's see from this angle. Does he win the ball? Well, I'm not sure that he does. I think it's the way.
I think it was a foul, Paul.
I thought. I mean, to me, it looked initially like it could have been. Like he could have got a nick on the ball, but it's almost like the contact with the Arsenal man has got the ball to go away. But the corner kick is swung in, drops straight to a Zurich player, and then it deflects back into the arms of goalkeeper Brecher.
Yeah, it's a real poor delivery actually from Reece Nelson, and it finds Brecher, and Brecher finds Canberra. 84 minutes played at the Emirates Stadium. Have we got one more final twist in the tail here? Can Zurich spoil the party and send Arsenal fans home unhappy and mean that Arsenal will have to play that extra game. There's good link up there between Yanick and Akita. As now the ball is with Gabriel Jesus, and Gabriel Jesus' right-footed ball in towards Marchesano, and Partey's clearance is up and high and just onto the roof of the net. I mean, Partey's don't know what he's doing there, because he's kicked the ball backwards over his head and onto the roof of the net.
I'm not so sure that Partey even now could tell us what he was trying to do there. I think it was just one of those things where he's in defensive mode to get this ball away from the box, but then he's just got it all wrong. And yeah, this is a good chance now for Zurich with 6 minutes to go.
Panic station's on for Arsenal at the moment. Every time Zurich go forward, they look a bit dangerous. And Martin Odegaard trying to organise his team and really make sure Arsenal can see this final 5 minutes post stoppage time out. Zurich's ball in. They've got a few aerial threats, Katic being one of them. It's towards Katic on the volley of Yanick. And Reece Nelson clears, and now Bukayo Saka will chase. Brought down really well there by Guerrero to Gabriel Jesus, and Gabriel Jesus will kick it long towards Yanick. And if Yanick can bring that down, he can. Can he deliver? He can. Towards Katic, towards Akita. Cleared away well by Kieran Tierney, and then headed away well by Albert Sambi Lokonga. Eddie Nketiah now, has he been pushed there by Gabriel Jesus? He has, and Nketiah will win a free kick in deep defensive territory. But Zurich at the moment just...
Yeah, their tails are up. Tails are up. The substitutions have had an impact here. The visitors suddenly believe they can get a point here. That very passionate away support they've got, a very lively manager, and these new players on the pitch really have made a difference. As Kieran Tierney still berating the referee, feeling as though he might have been pushed over there by Jonathan Akita. Didn't think there was too much in that, but when Vienna gets it here on the left-hand side, as Tu looks up here to see where his teammates are, and lifts this ball towards the edge of the 6-yard box, just a little bit too high for Katic. But yeah, these are good moments now for Zurich.
I've been really impressed with Yanick since he's come on. We see that first that shot, didn't he? That left-footed shot was absolutely brilliant. And then that first touch there was brilliant. And
it was, yeah, absolutely.
Really impressed with him, and it's the sort of player that you feel like, why was he not in from the off? I mean.
Well, it does beg the question, doesn't it? It may well be that he's trying to make a point now that he's come off the bench as a sub, but it doesn't look good here for the Arsenal sub, Tommy Asu.
He's
only been on the pitch a very short amount of time, and already looking at the hand gestures from Arteta on the halfway line suggests to me that we're not going to see Zinchenko coming back this evening. It's the third right back that's going to have to come on for Arsenal this evening, with Cedric Soares getting ready to come on.
Yeah, real worrying time for Arsenal ahead of that big game, of course, against Chelsea. One fullback out, another fullback's back in Zinchenko, but is Zinchenko going to be fit enough to start from the off against Chelsea without playing any minutes for a month or 6 weeks or so? Probably not. So perhaps Kieran Tierney is going to have to play back-to-back 90 minutes for Arsenal. Of course,
he's normally a very sort of stoic player, Tommy Asu. It doesn't show too much emotion, but the fact that he's sort of gritting his teeth, putting his shirt over his face, he's not happy here, the Japanese right back, and Tommy Asu is off, and it's Cedric Soares on to replace him.
He struggled with injuries, of course, Takaro Tomiyasu, hasn't he, throughout his time at Arsenal so far last season and the start of this season, and it's a real frustrating one for him because he sort of lost his place inside because of that. You know, he got injured, Ben White stepped in at right back, done a stellar job, and now Tomiyasu, you know, he's been playing left back the last few games, but doing a stellar job there. He's a really good player, Tomiyasu, but he's lost his preferred position of right back because of that. So it's a worrying time for him, of course. You know, Arsenal have only got a few games left before the World Cup, and Tomiyasu will want to be fit for that.
He will, yeah. I mean, it's a point that Jeremy Carragher made this week whilst working for foreign television. He made the point that this is an unusual time for a World Cup, which does mean that players aren't going to miss out on the World Cup. But then I suppose you get players that get injuries towards the end of the season that would have missed out on a Summer World Cup as well in that regard. So certainly there's no... from that point of view, I think it's a fair point. But yeah, it is. I mean, just hearing today that Timo Werner now is injured, has got a ligament injury. He won't be at the World Cup for Germany, which is a real shame for him. But the fifth and final change here, it's going to be Fidan Aliti to go off, and he's replaced by the number 9, the Croatian Ivan Santini. So they're going for it now in these last few minutes.
Yeah, all-out attack for Zurich, bringing on number 9, Santini, back from injury, of course, this evening, and they've had to bring off another player that's been substituted, Aliti, precaution I should say, Aliti, and that makes sense as Odegaard and Arsenal's pressure there almost caught out the Zurich back line, and a long ball forward there towards Akita's brought down well by the number 11. He finds Marchesano on the right hand side. Marchesano's pulled in, not a bad one towards Santini, threw himself at the ball, couldn't quite make any contact on it, and in the end can Yanick just about keep it in? He can't. Cedric Soares does really well, knocks the ball down the line, but But Arsenal have got 11 players behind the ball at the moment. It's going to be a throw-in for Zurich.
It is, yeah. It's still quite close to the Arsenal penalty area. Still got a chance here, the visitors now, as we go into the last minute of the 90. Arsenal back in numbers here just to try and restrict what Zurich are doing. But Zurich are confident here now in these last few minutes.
Krasniqi looks to drive to the byline past Cedric. He does just that. Is it a handball from Cedric? No, the Arsenal players are furious that the ball's not gone out. Brandon Jasevich just about has the ball on the right-hand side, and he's looking to go one-on-one with Kieran Tierney. Can he deliver on the right foot? Really well blocked by Kieran Tierney and out for a throw into Zurich. But Zurich, very much the team on top. Arsenal holding on to these 3 points right now, and it's a really important 3 points for the Gunners as Reece Nelson wins the ball back well there. Kieran Tierney clears, but there's no real outlet for Arsenal. And Nketiah will chase the ball down, and he'll chase the ball down really well, but Katic holds on to the ball well, and Nketiah forces him back. Really good work there from the Arsenal number 14, but only as far as the goalkeeper Brecher, and now he'll knock it forward, and Zurich will come again. Thomas Partey can't win that knockdown, but Gabriel can win the second ball, only as far as the head of a Zurich player, though. Machasano's tackled well by Tierney, and Arsenal desperate at the moment. 5 minutes the Gunners have got to hold on to this 1-0 lead that they currently have at the Emirates Stadium. 5 minutes done by the full official. Now Kieran Tierney's down injured. Another fullback down for Arsenal. He looks to be in real pain. Arsenal have made all 5 of their subs.
They've made all 5 of their subs. This isn't a concussion injury, so they won't be able to change Tierney there. Lunges into that one, does Tierney, trying to win the ball, and yeah, it's a stamp down on the Scotland international. He's certainly feeling that. Kieran Tierney, he won't be getting up from this one very quickly.
No, I think it's one of those ones where it's like impact rather than sort of a muscular injury, isn't it, Paul? You know, the impact of someone stamping on the back of your foot like that, it does really hurt. And Arsenal hope it's nothing serious, because we've only mentioned Zinchenko's just back from injury. He's probably not going to be fit enough to start Sunday. Tomiyasu now looks to be out. I mean, he's coming from muscular injury. Is he going to recover? The Arsenal play in less than 72 hours.
They do. It's going to be a difficult time now for Mikel Arteta. Report on the walking wounded tomorrow morning from his physio, and then make a decision by tomorrow afternoon, Saturday, as to who's going to be in his squad for the game on Sunday. Luckily, it's not a long trip, so they don't have to necessarily worry too much about. They can probably take a couple of players that maybe are 50-50 to the game away at Chelsea, and still be able to make a decision as to who is going to be starting. But Tierney, well, it's been a theme for him since he's been in North London. He does get a lot of injuries, and although that occasion he was trodden on, and that looked like a painful one.
To be fair to Kieran Tierney, he wears his heart on his sleeve, doesn't he? Every time he plays football, he's a real tough Scottish player, and I think that's probably to his own downfall sometimes, because he gets stuck in and he'll fly into challenges. Yeah,
I mean, it's how many players over their careers could say that their injuries have been caused by them just lunging into a challenge where they probably didn't need to, but it's that eagerness to get forward, and here come Arsenal now. They're getting forward in numbers.
In Odegaard, we'll find Cedric Soares on the overlap. Cedric, can he find the ball? He's 2-footed, Cedric, he cuts into his left-hand side, but he only go back to Odegaard, and now he'll deliver with his left foot. Not a bad delivery at all towards Eddie Nketiah. Nketiah can meet it, but not enough. No real contact on it, and the ball will go behind for a goal kick.
It was a great ball in from the right-hand side from Cedric. As you said, he is very much two-footed there. Lovely left-footed cross. I mean, if we're going to be pedantic, potentially maybe if that cross was a yard lower when it's hitting Nketiah, then he can get more direction on it. But that's not taking anything away from the cross. It was a really good ball, and Nketiah did well to get underneath it.
Yeah, it was a good ball there from Cedric Soares, enjoying just his second appearance of the season, of course, for Arsenal. And a flick on there from Marchesano. Gabriel read it well, and Gabriel puts it out for a throw-in. We've had 2.5 minutes played, but about a minute of that was Kieran Tierney down injured, so around about 3.5 minutes left here at the Emirates Stadium. Arsenal 1, Zurich 0. Zurich putting the pressure on, though, and they might find themselves with a corner here, and I think they have just about, have they? No, throw-in. Gabriel's done really well to keep that in, Paul.
He has done really well. The Zurich players were looking expectantly towards the linesman and the referee, but it is just a throw, although Boran Janicevic has got a long throw here, and there's plenty of players to aim for inside the box.
Yeah, centre-backs have come into the box here for Zurich, but the flick on from Santini wasn't the best, and then Yanick will throw himself at it. Gabriel will clear. Can Nketiah keep it on? He can. He'll flick it towards Reece Nelson, but he can't quite do that, and it's a throw-in again for Zurich, but Zurich on top.
They are on top. Just to tell you very quickly, it's only academic now, but there was a goal scored with the last kick of the game between Bodo Glimt and PSV. Bodo Glimt reducing the arrears to 2-1, but just as they scored that goal, that game was also finished. So Arsenal know that PSV have won their game, so they have to make sure they win theirs. But Arsenal, in the meantime, have lost the ball here.
Yeah, job done for PSV, and now Krasniqi will have the ball, and he'll find Machasano. Machasano will deliver the ball in towards it. Oh, towards the rushing Quite sure that was. I think it was Yanick. It was.
It was.
Really good ball in from Marchesano. He's been really impressive with 2 substitutes. And link up well again here. Marchesano flashed the ball across the face of goal. Yanick sliding in, but Aaron Ramsdale does really well just to come out. Real brave goalkeeper, and he gets 2 hands on the ball. Head in hands for Bo Henriksen. He knows his team.
He really is getting very frustrated because his side looked like they were out of it towards the end of the first half. The start of the second half didn't look much better for them, but the last 15 minutes, they really look like the more likely team to score.
The last 20 minutes have done really well, and here's Reece Nelson, who finds Eddie Nketiah. Now Arsenal got the ball in territory where they want it, towards the corner, but Nketiah gives the ball away really poorly, and he'll bring down Canberry, and that'll be a free kick. And then Nelson and Canberry will have a little bit of chat there, and Canberry's been giving it to the Arsenal players a lot of the time there. I think that's just Nelson saying, well, if you're going to keep giving it to
exactly,
us,
I think. I mean, they say him and Nketiah have been going at it for most of the game. So I think Nelson just stepped in, maybe just to give Canberry someone else to think about. But we've had the 5 minutes of injury time. Now it's just a question of whether Eric Lambrecht wants to add any additional time on top of that.
I think he might add on a bit for the Kieran Tierney. I think as Gabriel's brought down his man there, and it's a real poor one for Gabriel. As you said, they've had the 5 minutes played there. He's going to get a yellow card for that as well.
Yeah.
It's just, leading arm.
Just losing a little bit of that composure now, Arsenal. They want the game to finish because they can sense that Zurich are the side. There's not much in it from Gabriel, but that arm out is just encouraging the referee to get involved, really. And still a free kick and a chance here for Zurich to get the ball into the box.
You said it right there, Paul. He's just giving Zurich a chance to put the ball in the box. And if Zurich can deliver a good ball here, it's a real dangerous opportunity for them. But this is now or never for Zurich. They've got to put a good ball in here, and it's Jonathan Nikita who's going to do it. There's plenty of aerial presence in the box. The likes of Katic, the likes of Yanick, the likes of Canberra, Brana Jasevich. There's some big players in the box here for Zurich. Not a bad ball at all. Towards header Santini and over the bar. Golden opportunity. It was Katic in the end who gets his head on the end of it. And it's a free header in the box. What a ball from Nikita. Arsenal's defender was absolutely nowhere to be seen. Katic was actually in an offside position, so it wouldn't have stood. But what an opportunity. And he's got to hit the target. Free header 6 yards out. And I think that's going to be all but that for Arsenal. And Arsenal are going to top the group, it seems.
It is. I mean, they're showing us the 2 managers now. I'm not sure if there's even any more time to see any more play here. Seems to me like when this goal kick is taken, that should be it. We've had 6.5 minutes of injury time here now at the Emirates. But yeah, confirmation it was an offside because there's a free kick for Arsenal just inside the D, and it's a long clearance from Ramsdale up to the halfway line. It's
a long ball forward from Aaron Ramsdale, flicked on by Eddie Nketiah, and surely the referee's whistle is going to go, and it is. Arsenal top the group. They've beaten Zurich here by a goal to nil. Brilliant goal from Kieran Tierney on the half volley just before half-time, which separated the two sides. No goals, of course, in the second half. Full time here at the Emirates Stadium. Arsenal 1, Zurich 0.